Viewer discretion is advised. The content in this video includes historical events and narratives that may be disturbing or unsettling to some audiences. Please proceed with caution. Step inside the most notorious prison in America, where the walls whisper secrets of the past and the shadows tell tales of the untold. Are you brave enough to uncover the mysteries of the Kentucky State Penitentiary? Kentucky State Penitentiary, the most notorious prison in America. In the rolling hills of Kentucky, where the river's wind and the bluegrass spreads like a lush carpet across the land, there lies a place steeped in tales of sorrow and shadows of despair. This is the story of the Kentucky State Penitentiary, a monument to human fallibility and a testament to the consequences of crime and punishment. The Kentucky State Penitentiary, also known as the Castle on the Cumberland, was established in 1886. Its formidable Gothic architecture, rising from the banks of the Cumberland River, was designed not just to confine but to intimidate, embodying the state's stern resolve to deter wrongdoing. The penitentiary was built by the very hands of its first inmates, men who toiled to erect the walls that would encase them, a cruel irony that was just the beginning of the hardships they would face. From its inception, the penitentiary was more than just a prison. It was a place of extreme penitence, where the incarcerated were subjected to harsh conditions and grueling labor. The early years were marked by a regime that believed in strict discipline and the redemptive power of hard work. However, this philosophy often crossed the line into cruelty, with prisoners breaking stone from the prison's own quarry under the relentless Kentucky sun. The turn of the century brought little improvement to the inmates' plight. Overcrowding and inadequate facilities made life inside the penitentiary even more unbearable. Disease spread rapidly in the confined spaces, and medical care was rudimentary at best. Tuberculosis and other illnesses claimed many lives, leaving behind tales of suffering and loss that echoed through the prison walls. In the 1920s, the introduction of the electric chair, dubbed Old Sparky, added a new layer of dread to the penitentiary's atmosphere. The execution chamber, with its grim apparatus, became a site of ultimate punishment, where condemned prisoners met their end. Each execution cast a dark shadow over the prison, reinforcing the finality of justice but also the profound tragedy of wasted lives. The Great Depression of the 1930s further exacerbated the penitentiary's woes. Resources were scarce, and the prison struggled to provide for the basic needs of its growing population. Hunger and despair were constant companions to the inmates, many of whom were serving time for crimes born of economic desperation. World War II saw some prisoners leaving the confines of the penitentiary to serve in work details supporting the war effort. Though this provided a temporary respite from the monotony of prison life, it was a stark reminder of the freedom they had forfeited. For those left behind, the war years were a period of stagnation and isolation, further deepening the sense of abandonment. The post-war era did little to alleviate the suffering within the penitentiary's walls. The 1950s and 1960s were times of social upheaval, but change was slow to come to the Kentucky State Penitentiary. Riots and escape attempts underscored the desperation of the inmates, while reforms were piecemeal and often resisted by the institution itself. In the 1970s, the prison finally began to see significant changes. A series of lawsuits and growing public awareness about the conditions in American prisons led to efforts to improve the lives of those inside. Yet, progress was slow, and the legacy of neglect was difficult to overcome. The penitentiary's history of suffering could not be erased overnight. The 1980s and 1990s brought technological advancements and a shift towards rehabilitation rather than mere punishment. Educational programs, mental health services, and vocational training offered a glimmer of hope, a chance for redemption and a path back to society for some. However, for many inmates, the damage wrought by years of harsh confinement was irreparable. As the new millennium dawned, the Kentucky State Penitentiary continued to evolve. Efforts to address the needs of the incarcerated population became more sophisticated, with a focus on reducing recidivism and preparing inmates for eventual reintegration into society. Yet, the challenges remained daunting, and the scars of the past were not easily healed. Today, the penitentiary stands as a complex symbol of our society's struggle with crime and punishment. It is a place of contradictions, where efforts to rehabilitate and punish coexist, often uncomfortably. The stories of those who have passed through its gates remind us of the fine line between justice and vengeance, mercy and cruelty. The Kentucky State Penitentiary's long history is a mirror reflecting our evolving attitudes towards incarceration and the human capacity for both kindness and brutality. It is a story of survival, of lives lived in the shadow of regret and the flickering hope for redemption. As the sun sets on the Cumberland River, casting long shadows over the castle-like fortress, one cannot help but ponder the lives intertwined with this institution's history. The ghosts of the past linger in the air, a solemn reminder of the cost of crime and the price of justice. Each stone of the penitentiary, each bar on its windows, tells a story of hardship and endurance, of moments of despair and fleeting glimpses of hope. The Kentucky State Penitentiary remains a testament to the complexity of the human spirit, a place where the darkest depths of sorrow and the possibility of forgiveness and change coexist. It is a symbol of our ongoing quest to balance the scales of justice, a reminder of the work still to be done to ensure that punishment does not eclipse our humanity. In the end, the story of the Kentucky State Penitentiary is not just a tale of a prison, but a narrative about the society that built it. It challenges us to look beyond the walls and bars, to see the individuals within, and to remember that behind every sentence served is a human being, with hopes, fears, and the potential for redemption. As we move forward, let the history of the Kentucky State Penitentiary serve as a guide, a beacon urging us towards a more compassionate and just approach to criminal justice. Let us remember the lessons learned from its somber history as we strive to write a new chapter, one where empathy and understanding light the way. In the somber story of the Kentucky State Penitentiary, we find not just a narrative of punishment and pain, but a call to action, a reminder of the power of redemption, and the enduring human capacity for change. It stands as a silent witness to the past, a keeper of stories, urging us to look within and beyond its walls, to seek a future where justice and mercy walk hand in hand. Halls of the Kentucky State Penitentiary. The stories we've uncovered barely scratch the surface of its chilling legacy. For more tales from the dark side of history, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep seeking the truth hidden in the shadows.